keep out our curry. Don't come to play. Leave his people rise up. We not give it way. We want we land. We want we say. For our descendants, we go and hold on today. To keep out our curry. Don't come to play. Leave his people rise up. We not give it way. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are solely those of the participants and do not represent those of 2020 Vision Radio or its advertisers.
On Target.
So I'm your host, Kelvin Daly, and I thank you for joining us once again.
Join the conversation.
I looked at it on Facebook and I read the speech and I'm trying to find out what is the commitment to renal failure in Nevis, and I'm yet to find it.
Be a part of the debate.
What he needs to do is to allow the people to do their work in accordance with the relevant legislation, and he must not overreach, because when he makes those suggestions, he is in a sense misleading the population here.
Speak your mind. Defend your country. Call in. Numbers to call: 869-669-7312. That's 869-669-7312 or 917-460-2187. That's 917-460-2187. On Target, here on 2020 Vision Radio, every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. On Target. Be a part of it. On Target.
So I'm your host, Kelvin Daly, and I thank you for joining us once again.
Join the conversation.
I looked at it on Facebook and I read the speech and I'm trying to find out what is the commitment to renal failure in Nevis, and I'm yet to find it.
Be a part of the debate.
What he needs to do is to allow the people to do their work in accordance with the relevant legislation, and he must not overreach, because when he makes those suggestions, he is in a sense misleading the population here.
Speak your mind. Defend your country. Call in. Numbers to call: 869-669-7312. That's 869-669-7312 or 917-460-2187. That's 917-460-2187. On Target, here on 2020 Vision Radio, every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. On Target. Be a part of it.
Let us put our hands together for Papa Wheeler.
Shout for me, boy. I want them to roar, boy, roar for me, boy. If you don't know I want in you, but I bang them, they go ball foul. Talking about irregularities, boy. They go be up and down balling. No pattern, don't pick come in, boy. Heading south. I bring in these Indians from the north, mi amiga and amigos, como esta BNB da, la this fiesta, bring them to shout for me. I want them to roar, boy, roar for me, boy. I go be mashing down the complaint. suicide bomber, boy.
Bringing them to shout for me.
I want them to roar, roar, boy, roar for me.
Anything you want, you go get, boy. I'm mixing up the soca
With some
Hindi and some rumba.
chutney and lavandera.
ID no
Necessary, boy. Whisker lips a mercenary.
bringing them to shout for me.
I want them to roar, roar, boy, roar for me. Maintain your impulso. Total zombie and beater. Take it away.
The local fans decreasing.
Boy, by the numbers they keep dropping.
No, but they don't shout.
Shout no more. Like they used to shout before.
Boy, disgruntled fans they crumbling about promised songs. Fail on delivering. Boy, start song and can't finish it.
In standard English, singing stupendous nonsense.
Why don't you sing a song and again?
Tell me what happened to me fair share. When the money disappear.
Ooh yeah, boy.
Stuart, if in question here.
Bringing them to shout for me.
I wanted to roar, roar, boy, roar for me.
I'm gonna be rocking down the complex.
Yes, if they don't throw me king, boy, I do me like the doctor, placing their compass suicide bomber.
Bringing them to shout for me.
I wanted to roar, roar, boy, roar for me.
I'm gonna be mashing up the complex.
Yes, if they don't throw me king, boy, I do it like the doctor, placing their compass suicide bomber.
Boy, bringing them to shout for me.
I wanted to roar, roar, boy, roar for me.
Anything you want, you go get. Boy, I'm mixing up the soca.
With some Hindi and some rumba, chutney and lavandera.
ID no necessary.
Boy, whisker lips a mercenary.
Bringing them to shout for me.
I wanted to roar, roar, boy, roar for me. Maintain your impulso, total zombie and beater.
Boy,
Take it away.
I'm gonna be chartering airlines.
See bridge and see taxi. Bringing them to shout for me. I want them to roar, roar, boy, roar for me. You don't know.
You got to spend big money.
If you wanna win monarchy,
I go got the diaspora.
420 in my corner, boy.
Share the life, boy. Press like, subscribe, sharing.
All here the diaspora's king.
Your king go be knocking on your airport.
Knock it down, brock it down,
Hospital walls.
training geothermal.
Let the Jewish people sing the song. These Hebrew boys don't understand. Begging them to load for me. I want to
Dr. President, Dr. Suicide Bomber.
Ready, get the shout for me.
I wanted to run for you.
Run for me. Anything you want, you go get.
Yes.
I'm mixing up the soca
With some Hindi
and some rumba.
chutney and la bandera.
ID no necessary.
Please calypso mercenary.
Ready, get the shout for me.
I wanted to run for
me.
Prendete el impulso. Todo son bienvenidos. Keep the momentum. Everybody is welcome.
Thank you. Papa Wheeler.
Good afternoon, and welcome to this edition of On Target. And as usual, on a Saturday afternoon, I'm your host, Kelvin Daly, and in studio with me, two very bright gentlemen, all on time today. So I guess class is out. Class is out, and so our brother Henry Daniel is quite early today, and Tulu in his pink, look quite sexy. In his pink. Hot pink. Careful those fellas don't pick you up on the side of the road when you're heading home. I'm glad you're driving, rather than walking. Let me say good afternoon to all those who have joined the conversation here on Target. If you're in the diaspora or in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, special good afternoon to all of you. Of course, those first persons on the board, the first five on the board this afternoon. First again, LCQ, Loretta Clark really up there in Florida. And my good buddy Patty, the best dressed man on Nevis, who did send a message that he owns draggers. I got the message, Patty. I've never seen you in draggers, but I take your word that you have some. Just even if you have draggers, I don't think it's a butter special. I think they're probably leather.
We can put Errol and Patty in a competition.
Yeah, someday we will.
Someday.
And then we have Jetzel Barton. And I don't get excited, Hensley. But do not.
There's something about that name. And
he just gets animated. Jetzel, you must tell me one day what you have done to this young man. Because every time he hears your name, he gets all giddy. Like a schoolboy,
It's a different name.
It's a different... Nice comeback. And then we have Oral Joseph. Good afternoon to you, my brother. And up there in Mounstead Village, the lady herself, Hildred Davis, is with us. And over there in St. Thomas's, the most beautiful person over St. Thomas, Cecile Hobson, is with us. And Laurette Wharton. Do you know Laurette Wharton? No. Okay. Well, I don't want you to get the same reaction
I know
as...
There's a difference between a Barton and a Wharton.
Chiquita Jackson McKinnon. I'm beginning to fall in love with this name.
He says he's beginning.
I'm beginning to fall in love with this name. CJM. All right. Olivia, the Queen David, my good friend, how are you? Elvis Leslie is with us, and over there in Bath, como está, muchacha? Iona Door is in the house.
Oh, she missed the audit part last week.
She did?
Yeah, because she was...
Oh, yes, she was selling.
Yes,
she was doing her duty.
She was a little bit late for class last week.
And up in Canada, Marcy Yelner. I have not seen Marcy in class for a while, unless I missed it somehow, because normally she's quite early. So, Marcy, what happened for the last couple of weeks? You skip class? I don't appreciate things like that, Kitchen King. My brother has dropped way down the leaderboard, so I guess you're working somewhere and got home late. But Sharon Stapleton, up there in Boston, good afternoon to you. And Brenda Douglas and Catherine France with a K. Catherine France. Ingrid Daniel Farrell up there in Virginia. and Jeff Pemberton, and down there on St. Martin, Rhonda Brown is in the house. Burl Jones is with us from over there in St. Thomas's. Norma Jean down there in St. Martin.
Man, you French is
I'm
getting
telling
tougher,
you,
tougher.
parlez-vous français? Oui, oui, madame. Patrick the Globe Master Hanley is with us, and so is Ermin Farrell from over there in St. Thomas's. And the Queen herself, Eileen Ali, is in the house.
Yes.
And James Richards.
You saw Violina the last time she was here?
If I saw her?
Yeah.
Who?
Violina Ali.
She was in studio here.
Oh, okay.
You weren't here? You don't remember? No. I thought you were here.
No, I wasn't here.
You weren't here.
When she was in studio.
It's a good thing you weren't here. You might say, move over, Drexel.
No, I would have wanted to be.
Tulu was flabbergasted. He couldn't even speak. Violina had an effect on him.
Oh, she would normally.
Who she will not have?
Lauren Wharton is saying she is Carlisle's cousin from Birmingham, UK.
Wharton?
Well, no, Lauren Wharton, she says Carlisle's cousin. What I say, cousin make up the dozen?
That's what they say.
That's what they say. Okay. Steve Mills up there in Canada, he's saying it's cold. Cold. You need some.
That's one cito.
You need some libation.
But you have what it takes.
General Grell Hall over there.
But you don't offer to send him something?
No. I leave that to Tulu. General Grell over there in Budgeon Range. She's in the house. Tamaki is in the house. And who else? Jasmine John down there in St. Croix.
Oh, yes.
She's in the house. Good afternoon to Jasmine. Long time no see.
She has as much chat. As
Always had chat.
From
her mother was, right? Kind of no nonsense kind of person.
Millicent John.
Millicent John.
Who's
Very.
in charge of the girls' brigade.
Oh man.
Order. Get the young girls to follow.
We couldn't sneak a peek with them.
No. Well, you see, we still need those because I mean, if it was vital, then it's even more critical. No.
Yeah, she was a blocker. That mother of hers was a blocker. Young fellas couldn't come around.
She was guiding the young women.
But she's guiding them away from us.
But yeah, well, there's a time at which she will guide them to you, when you would show that you are
responsible.
You said it.
I was in the boys' brigade. We are quite responsible.
Yes.
But you would think the boys' brigade and the girls' brigade will mingle.
No. Yeah.
No, it wasn't happening. Thank you, Mrs. John. Gemini Nisbet is in the house, and so is Simileta Ovaltine Jeffers over there in St. James. Mm-hmm. Good afternoon to you, Simileta.
You sound like Spanish. Simileta.
And I think that is for now. All right. Okay. So we have a birthday today, and it's no other than the former Prime Minister, Dr. Harris. He's celebrating his 61st birthday today. Imagine we are all older than the Prime Minister.
Harris that young?
Yeah, he's 61. I was shocked. I thought, he was older than me. But
not old, he's just born long time.
So, we want to extend.
Today's the birthday of Oral Martin, to my good colleague.
Okay. Well, we want to extend birthday greetings to our former Prime Minister. I hope he has a blessed day today. And we also have the anniversary of some dear friends, Nigel and Monica, celebrating 12 years of marital bliss, still sleeping in the same bed. Yeah, you don't know them. They were my friends.
Oh, okay.
When you say they still sleep in the same bed, you expect them not to be in the same bed?
After 10 years, get your own bed.
No, well, you don't discuss those matters with people who are not in the same.
Okay.
You and I can speak.
You can discuss. Okay.
He's out the ring.
Okay.
Let them in the pavilion look on.
Okay. Why he's not even in the grounds?
Have your fun. Have your fun. But we are going to sing, even though it's a birthday song, we are dedicating it to Monica and her husband, Nigel, and of course to Dr. Harris. Certainly he's not listening to us, but we're going to wish him happy birthday and wish
also
Oral Martin and on the continuation of another 100 years for our good friends Nigel and Monica. All right? So Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. And as usual from us in the studio, may you live to be 101 and us 101 minus a day, so we don't have to see you go. May God continue to bless you with good health, strength, and of course, wealth. All right.
Just to say, Kel, you speak to anniversary, the 6th of December. This marks 40 years ago. We began the work to construct the first community center in Nevis at the Flats. December 6th, 1985.
That's quite an achievement.
Yes.
40 years ago.
That's when
December 6th.
That's when community meant something.
Yeah, and it was built by 90 people. And then the following week, the Chiverton brothers, Leroy, who was passed, and Analdo Strani, who is here, their workmen were on holiday. So they were able to send their work team. Of course, they're the technical people, so we got most of that initial work done in the 2 weeks. And then it spent a year to get it done. And it took us the help of 90 people.
Okay, that's wonderful. All right, we have some new people adding. Judy Cornelius Webb up there in Judy Cornelius Webb Estate. Gemini Nisbet, who is vacationing.
She looks nice too, Judy. Is it because she's in an estate?
Gemini Nisbet up there in Canada. And
so how come you're not responding to that?
I will not be baited. Annette Morton, good afternoon to my dear.
Annette looks nice. Annette looks very nice.
I still have no comment to make.
Okay.
Loretta Clark really saying, you guys need a record deal. Hey, sign us up, man. I could use the money.
A record deal?
Yeah, because it sounds so good in singing.
Oh.
Jeanette Tyson just clocked on. Good afternoon to you.
Oh, yes.
Jeanette.
That's Shanet's mother.
And she and her child celebrated the anniversary, their 100th anniversary a couple days ago, or a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, no, they're having a 40th anniversary.
It's 40th, right? It's coming up.
Coming up.
Okay, shortly.
You see how good it is? Tolo, you did 40 the other day, right?
Yes.
Please talk to the host.
There's some people that had it hard so hard.
No, you can't still make 40 if you go nowhere.
Listen.
If you start now, you can't still make
Listen. This is not a show on me.
You're going to keep off my partner.
And you're instigating?
We could instigate
okay.
anything.
Let's move on. We got quite a full docket today.
Because
right? Stop.
No. I say you must have a full docket. Because as long as CCM is in power in Nevis, you can't be short of material.
Jasmine John is saying, thank you guys for those cherishable memories of my mom. Yes, 4th Nevis Boroughs Brigade.
Mm-hmm.
First captain, well appreciated.
Good.
All right. Good. Yeah.
See?
Well, I still didn't like the fact that she shunned us fellas from the group.
But you know something, just very quickly. I was talking to Jasmine, was listening to the rededication of the Methodist Church a few weeks ago, and she remembered all the things you're talking about.
Yeah.
Where they used to go, where the window was.
Boy, why wouldn't she remember?
No, I mean,
I remember. I remember everything about that church.
Okay. I was just struck to see that. I mean, you're here, but she's there.
I actually wanted to buy the pew that my family used for all the years that we were going to school, going to church there, 17 years. Mm-hmm. And I did not get the opportunity to buy that pew because we were the only ones in that pew.
Oh, yeah, those days
you had your pew. You dare not sit in anybody's pew.
You had to move?
No, you wouldn't dare sit there.
No.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How much praying you did while you were there? I just asked you, how much praying you pray?
You prayed in church, you prayed when you got home, you prayed before you go to bed, pray for you eat, before you eat and all that.
I asked you how much praying you did in church when you sit on that pew.
What do you mean? Well, how much praying you did?
Yeah, you were sitting on the pew. How much praying you did while you sat on the pew?
You could not sit on the pew and pray. You had to kneel on the...
You had to kneel down there?
Yes.
Those days you genuflect to show reverence.
You had to kneel on the thing.
So you knelt a lot of time then?
Every time there was prayer, we had to kneel down. What's wrong with you? You think we then jump up church with all kind of air conditioning and a soft seat?
No.
I'm just checking to see if
No, let's
how
move.
much praying it
We
is.
don't lose enough time on this chit chat. we got things to do. All right, we got things to do. Let me remind persons, next week, Saturday, the 13th, we'll be having a rally at Gingerland at Market Shop. The Stand for Nevis rally is our last rally for the year. So I'm hoping that everybody comes out and lends their support right there at Market Shop. 7 p.m., the next week, Saturday, the 13th. All right?
Oh, okay.
Now, yeah. All right. So I listened to the Groundings program yesterday. First time in a long time. Somebody actually called me and told me, you need to listen. So I quickly keyed in to hear my good friend Patrick Martin do a 180. I think it's a 180 because I understood that he was in the initial discussions for the Destiny SSC development. And so I tuned in yesterday and heard him basically decry the dangerous nature of this development. You know, so I appreciate another person coming forward, another person who is of consequence, who has weight in our communities, who has come out now against Destiny. So on that show now, you have Junie, you have, what's his name?
Junior's come.
You have
Sam
Sam Condor, and now you have the other co-host in Dr. Martin, Patrick Martin. So it appears that Dr. Drew is being increasingly isolated. It appears now that the only person on record of late that continues to support this SSC Destiny is the Prime Minister and his Attorney General. But even the AG, nobody has seen him since that Badwood episode. His head he has been under the radar for some time. But the topic of SSZ is heating up on St. Kitts. We have the one-person protest last week in Shani, and you've had endless commentary by Dwight Astafan and others decrying the dangerous nature of this SSZ and Destiny. So the Prime Minister is really in a difficult position. He really is out there on a limb. And from what I'm reading, whatever he puts out there, he's looking away off of that limb. The limb is being cut to the stem. He's standing on the other side, and he's looking more and more isolated. So, I mean, when you take a position that there's nothing to repeal, when everybody's telling you this needs to be repealed, you need to reset, restart, and come again.
I think, Kelly, you forgot one. Well, not forgot, but I need to also mention, you would have seen it too. Melvin Edwards.
I've seen all that. I was getting to
he's a man with standing.
The Melvin Edwards put out a wonderful
Cool
program. So you have now a plethora of commentators and organizations who have stood up and said no to SSZ, no to Destiny. I saw one this morning. Dr. Hodge sent me something from a gentleman. I'm not familiar with him. Perhaps you guys out there would be more familiar with him, but I could tell you who it is. I have the documentation right here. By Dr. Colin Balcom. I'm not familiar with that name.
I'm not familiar.
Dr. Colin Balcom. And he says, the heading is, St. Kitts and Nevis is not for sale. The SSC Act is a blueprint for losing it to the Europeans and Africans. All right? And so he went into quite a good argument there, like we've been making all along, against this. So you know how the two political parties on St. Kitts, the two opposition parties, PLP and PAM, coming out forcefully against this. You have the Chamber, you have the Christian Association, you have on here in Nevis, you have the NHCS, Nevis Historical and Conservation Society. I understand the bar soon will be coming out with a letter opposing this development. You have the threat of a lawsuit seeking judicial review of this matter. And I again recommend Dr. Drew, there's an act out there which gives the AG the authority through you to appeal to the court for an interpretation. There's, that is your best bet right now. Because if you are waiting, if you wait and a judicial review is brought into play, then through the process of disclosure, we will find out soon enough how this bill got to the parliament. We will find out everything, because we will have to subpoena the development agreement. Everything associated with this will come into public domain. So if Dr. Drew is if he's serious about continuing this exercise and not repeal, you stand to lose a lot. And the opposition on St. Kitts, they are coalescing around the single issue of what's happening on Nevis. All right? And it will be a referendum in the next election. Guarantee that, both on St. Kitts and on Nevis.
Let me ask you a question, Dr. Daly. We have a Minister of Sustainable Development. We are told that this SSC Destiny, Inspector Destiny, is about development. And well, how is it that the minister, the federal minister, on the host portfolio, things like this falls, has not uttered a word?
Since the House.
But she was not in the House.
The minister.
Yeah,
I thought you meant the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Sustainable
my bad.
Development. She was not even there to debate it, and this falls smack under her ministry.
Why would she?
I mean, why would she?
Why would she?
Because she's the minister responsible for.
She is in a tight race in her district. Why would she jeopardize that by putting a position out there different to the Prime Minister? It's best to keep quiet.
No.
No, for her.
Or for her.
For her.
But for the good of the country, it's best to lend your voice and let us know where you stand in relation to this.
And then what happens to her?
Whatever happened. Somebody.
You're being facetious.
No.
You're being irresponsible.
No.
No, you're asking this young lady who is going through her first term of government to put herself out there on the bus.
If she supports it, she's the minister said that I support it.
Tulu, we're not in church. We're not in church. We are dealing with practicalities of situations. If you are a politician and your prime minister has taken a position that you are not for, what do? You hold your tongue.
And let the country sink?
You don't let the country sink. You hold your tongue. You don't need to publicly say anything. You have whatever you say in cabinet. This is how things are done. Which minister in any government have you ever heard them come out against the government in public? Not only in St. Kitts and Nevis, anywhere in the world.
Well, it happened in...
But she hasn't come out in support either.
No, it happened in Jamaica with Clark.
When was this?
1989.
Okay, then thank you very much.
No, what happened, Kel, just a minute. The government increased the prices on food. He was the trade minister. He campaigned in the part of the campaign was the food things were too expensive. Manley said the dollar devalue, increased the prices. Clark said, look, that's how I feel. Manley said, no. He fired him. So that's why you try to tell. I'm telling you. That's what you need to understand, Tulu. Yes, he fired Clark.
There comes time we have to stand.
Tulu. Which is better? She in Parliament in cabinet trying to get something done, or out on the road? Which is better? Where I think she has more input, more impact?
Of course, it's in the cabinet.
In the opposition.
Come on.
Or in the cabinet. No, we have to be realistic. We have to be practical about this. All right. So it's never a good idea. Never ever a good idea to publicly humiliate your leader by going against
it's not humiliated.
Of course it is.
All I want the minister to say to me,
resign first?
I am in favor of SSC or I am thinking about this.
But then it goes into the public domain as a slap against the Prime Minister. And that is not tolerable.
That probably the cabinet.
All right? You have a disagreement, you trash it out in cabinet. If you don't want to vote on it, then you don't show up to vote on it.
Yeah.
That's your choice. But
I
I'll much prefer to know.
differently.
I'll much prefer to know if I am in that position. I have a lot to offer, and this one topical issue is going to get me fired, and I can't get anything else done after that because my career is over.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Anyhow,
I heard you, both of you. I heard both of you. That's all I'm going to say on the matter.
All right, we're moving on, and so.
So you must know about the Official Secrets Act.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I want to share something with the public today. The Premier, I understand, the Premier of this country is out there soliciting third-party conversations. Meaning, if he suspects that you have something untoward against him, whether his policies, his programs, whatever it is, he sets you up, I understand. On a third-party line, a three-party line, a three-way line, with a person that you're supposed to be your friend. So if the three of us are friends, and the Premier approaches Tulu and says, I understand Danny's saying something against me, get him on a three-way line for me, and let me hear for myself. And there are people foolish enough to put friendships on the line to snitch. Yes. And while the other person is listening on the other line to hear everything. So I'm just putting it out there. If you are so inclined, please consider you are being used. Because this is a very, very small community called Nevis. Very tiny. The same people will find out that you snitched on them, that you're being secretly sharing phone calls with the Primer, and you're going to have to live with that. It is not worth it. All right? I'm even ashamed to know that our Premier
goes to that level.
Could go to that level if it is true that he did that. I wasn't there, I was never part of it. But if he did that, it is beneath the pale, beyond the pale, that you're jeopardizing long-standing friendships among people just to get some news out there that this person may not agree with your policies or agree with your program or agree with your financial management of our economy. It's beyond the pale. And persons need to be cognizant of that. It's not worth it.
Since 2010, I made my first pronouncement that there is no level or depth that Mark Brantley, and I call his name, will not sink to get what he wants. In my promo to the Tell Me program, I said unless God gets a hold of his life and transform him, he will go from bad to worse at every step of the way. He goes deeper and deeper. I meditated on him during the course of the early part of this week. And I asked myself, how did this guy get so? And then reach to the level where he is and going down the hill faster. I think I found the answer in Scripture. And so, he is not going to get any better.
There's a comment here from Ingrid Daniel Farrell. I said, if he went so far as to broadcast my father's will on his show, what else won't he do?
There's nothing that he will not stop at.
All right, those people, those of us in Nevis who have had the opportunity to assess these people, nothing emerges as a surprise to me because of my expectations are zero. And so I am not surprised about that. What I'm surprised about, Kelly, is how people value relationships. You know, if somebody comes and tell me to do something against somebody, I have to value their relationships and the association greater put a higher value on it than to be snitching for people.
But then
that is what is worrying me, not the fact that he will try to get all that kind of
But
stuff.
my position is this: as a leader, you cannot please everybody.
No, you won't be.
You won't be able to please everybody. What you have to stick with is your principle, that you are doing the best you can, and there's always room for improvement. Blah blah blah. I can live with
if
that.
you have principle.
But when you have to go to the point where you're espionaging people and creating friction between former friends, especially people who have been there for you, people who have moved mountains for you, and you as the premier, or the primer as we call it, are quite knowledgeable of this relationship and decide to go in there and cause division. I mean, that is really.
I am aware of
And then what I understand, he not only gets the information, but punishes the person who said the things.
The guy, he eats for himself.
Yeah.
You see the danger here, that the premier is the master of corruption, of corrupting people, and he will not stop at nothing to corrupt anybody else. My problem, and greater problem, is not with him trying to do what he did. My greater problem is when my friend is going to set me up so that he could get a punch at me. Then I have to think 3 times, 4 times, 5 times about this individual who called himself my friend. And I'm mindful of something that David said. David said, what fellowship we enjoy. We ate together, we drank together, we hung out together. And all the time that we are doing that, eating, drinking, and even going to church to worship together, in your heart was war, and in your hand was a dagger to stab me. We have to be careful when this thing comes about friendship, because anybody approaches me to say anything against my friend or go after my friend, then I count you as an enemy, and I'm going to stay abroad of you, because what you want me to do to my friend, you are going to do that to me, and so therefore I'm going to run from you.
But also, Kel, can you imagine, and I imagine, Kel, if this continues, it goes to family. So you will have family members. You will have family members who are being identified and say, look, your cousin down there is so-and-so, or your brother, or your sister. I am fully aware of this. When I began running...
That's put up. Good afternoon on Target.
Good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
You guys are talking ethics, which right now in our...
Bad word.
Exactly.
Ethics is
Don't exist. Sorry. Okay. Backing up a bit. There was the son, shall we call it that, of the Prime Minister's position that I heard just earlier this afternoon. Basically, it's saying that he's sticking to not repealing, because if he does that, then that gives the Premier a blank check to go through with whatever he wants and needs. That, I don't know how that sounds.
Say it again, I didn't hear that last part.
Blank check.
Well, basically, yeah. Remember the Prime Minister was saying that, well, the SFZ is a limiting factor for whatever development is to take place, right? It's a guardrail. And this person was saying that he does not want to repeal the legislation because that would give the Premier, in effect, the authority to do as he pleases with that project.
That's a stretch.
That's a stretch.
That's a stretch.
Very big stretch.
That's a big stretch. But, you know,
Because what?
it's a big stretch, but anything is possible when it comes to this government. Anything is possible.
Okay. Okay.
But I think he's getting away with it because he has the support of the federal government to indulge in this. I think he did it. I think he went to the federal government to make sure he tied up Dr. Drew, and Drew allowed him to do it.
Well, he had to tie Drew because when the matter of national security comes into play, police force and customs that the people wanted, he didn't have the authority to give them that. And so he bribed.
Careful.
Let me change that word. He deceived Dr. Drew.
Well, you can't even say he deceived him because you weren't there.
I deceived Dr. Drew.
Who wasn't there? Okay. All
Dr. Drew find himself where he now realized that I was deceived in this whole thing, and this is not something that is done by him.
Listen, I don't think, by all disrespect, respect to, I don't think Dr. Drew was deceived. I think Dr. Drew was enticed.
Yeah.
I think he was enticed because
by the possibility
of course,
enough,
of course,
saving the CBI.
The CBI.
All the talk of diversification and so on.
Yeah.
That went out the window when he realized that, well, that might be easy money.
Yeah.
Coming in.
I think he saw this as a new golden goose.
That's a possibility there.
Yeah. Enticed by the money.
Yeah.
But the thing is though, remember we're operating on call it ultimatum, or maybe a softer word of the deadline
we're
of the end of the year.
We're heading to there now.
Right. And so one way or the other, the Prime Minister will have to make a decision if they come through with something to go to the federal Parliament, right? And it's going to be interesting to see how that is handled. In fact, there is the possibility, of course, that they may water down the Destiny project to make it more palatable. And then they'll be able to say, see there, we come up with another 4 seasons. You can't make noise with that. Okay? There's that possibility. There's also the possibility that the Prime Minister could say, unlike what you were saying just now, where, who was it, didn't express a view on the project. Can say give all members the right to vote their conscience. That doesn't happen often, but in something like this doesn't happen often. So I don't know, that could be a way out. All members of Parliament on the government side.
What's the probability of that? Because I like to do probabilities. I'm not looking at possibility. What is the probability that Dr. Drew would allow his members to vote their consciences?
Well, it would save the relationship between him and Brantley.
Yeah, but I'm talking about among his members in Parliament.
Yeah, we're talking about among his members in Parliament.
Yeah. No,
right?
in Cabinet.
If he goes against, let's say Brantley pursues the project as is, and he goes against that, okay? That could cause more problems than if you say, well, all parliamentarians, we have the project before us, vote how you feel. That would take some of the heat off of it, because you see why I realize that he's in a tough position. A caller asked him, point blank, do you feel comfortable with 15,000 people coming in to live in Nevis, take up residence in Nevis, with 13,000 people there? And he essentially avoided answering the question directly.
Yeah.
He said that is what the SSZ is for.
Yeah.
Because they'd have to bring new legislation, which can be, basically that's his point. He can bring new legislation that can prevent that. Okay? But he didn't answer the question direct. And that, he also didn't answer the question about the end of the year deadline. I mean, he just, because I asked that, I remember asking him, and he just totally ignored it. Didn't answer, didn't touch it at all. So you can see he's between a rock and a hard place, essentially.
Right.
And time is going. So we'll see see how it's eventually handled.
All right.
Right? There's one other thing where somebody said yesterday that he can take cover behind. No proposal has come to him, so he can't make a definitive answer to it until it does. You know?
Yeah, he's looking for cover.
Yeah. Okay. Then.
All right, thanks a lot. Good afternoon. Thanks for holding. You on target?
Yeah, good afternoon, Dr. Daly.
Good afternoon.
I think I asked this question already. What is the constitutional arrangement when it concerning the taxes? Do not go through the explanation. Just give me the figures.
The taxes?
Yes.
There's a portion of right after this. We're going to be doing that. So just hold on for a second. We're going to get to that portion of the show. Hello?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I understand. I understand what he was saying, but the premier made a statement that he got an agreement.
Agreement about what?
And
but the revenue sharing.
Concerning the yes.
Yeah, let me. I don't want to cut you off, but we're gonna get to that part of the program. So just stay tuned.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I got you. Okay.
All right. All right, gentlemen. Almost gone already, and we ain't touched nothing yet, you know. All right, so let's go take this call here. Good afternoon, you're on target.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
To the previous call about one, talked about parliamentarians having their conscience. Something. If you look at the elected members of the federal parliament from the Labour Party, is there any difference between cabinet and parliament?
Barely none.
So why bother with parliament? It can be done in cabinet. No, I have a concern, and part of it is due to the lack of transparency and the behavior of both heads of the assemblies. Is it possible that there may already be agreement in place on this destiny thing?
It's a possibility.
And if that is so, wouldn't our governments be opening themselves up to tremendous liability if the act or anything is repealed or changed?
Well, based on what the Prime Minister have said, and based on what the Premier have said, there is no agreement signed yet.
For true?
That's what they said. They've said it. They've said it categorically. They have not signed any agreement. That is all speculation on our part. And when it is signed, it will be brought from the cabinet to Parliament for ratification.
Okay. Are verbal agreements binding?
I don't know if they have any verbal agreements. All I can tell you is they've said that the development agreement has not been signed.
Okay, all right. So that's my concerns about liability don't
not as yet.
Non-existent.
Not as yet.
Well then,
Sure, not as yet.
I wonder if that's the case. I wonder why there is such reticence to answer searching questions or
because those questions, but you answered the question yourself. They are searching questions. Nobody wants to be asked searching questions, and so they remain unanswered because to answer them will sink your ship.
Well, I would have thought that if you aspire to be the leader of a country, you would accept that questions about the future of the country will be coming to you, and you should be prepared to answer them as a leader.
I think
that would be logic.
Yeah, that would be logic if this matter started out above board, where everybody knew what was coming. But we all know the level of secrecy and deception that occurred for years, and so whatever is said now and done now is all tainted. So
here's another concerning conundrum with this, and it begs whether or not our leaders put enough thought into the whole process.
They have
Now, let us assume that this agreement gets signed and passed through Parliament, and then legal action is brought on constitutional grounds, and that legal action is successful, and therefore any agreements are struck out. Does that open us up to liability once more?
Of course it does. Once the agreement has been signed, and if you read the act itself, it lays out any breach, any alteration will incur cost, penalties. So once you've signed, both Parliament signed and it's in effect, and for some reason there's a judicial review that condemns it to the halls of death, then of course whatever liabilities we will be responsible for.
But this is really scary.
I would think so. All right.
It's almost more scary than destiny itself. I wonder what our destiny will be, meaning the country.
Well, we'll see in time. Thank you, caller.
They'll give me a short answer, a quick answer here.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about penalties. The Premier made it abundantly clear that in whatever agreement there has, that there will be penalties from on any side to breach this agreement. The Janssen recently said that if the agreement is breached, that we will have to pay him, I think his was twice the amount of what he spent. So we have the two sides speaking that there will be penalties as if that it is in place, while at the same time, all the three sides are saying we haven't signed anything yet, but they're still talking about penalties.
The penalties come into effect when the agreement is signed to.
So you only come into effect?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. All right, so I sent a tape to the engineer, but for some reason he slipped by and it did not get loaded. All right, so forgive me for that. But it had to do with the police station in Charlestown. Right? The Von Radio carried a news item, a clip from the Premier, speaking about the readiness of the Charlestown police station, scheduled to open in December. And that work had resumed on the police station in earnest, or with alacrity, as he likes to say, and that the work could be completed in time for Christmas. And of course, being from Charlestown and being, of course, the legacy of my father, who was a police officer and a friend of the police, I would want to find out myself the state of play. And so, of course, I would have investigated. But just to give you a recap, the police station was closed in 2023, and the officers relocated just down the road here in the Skeet building. All right? And the work has been going on for some time. It came to an abrupt halt after about a year and a half. In May of 2024, the work stopped. There were many complaints about costs and, difficulties accessing funds. Basically, the contractor walked off because they weren't getting paid. That was in May of 2025, sorry. The Premier spoke to a payment that was made by the federal government to continue the work. The work resumed in September of this year and abruptly ended in October of this year, 1 month later. And the reason why it ended, again, for the third or fourth time, money was not flowing. All right? The money that was sent up in September to resume the work was only sufficient, barely sufficient, to pay off debts that were owing on the projects already done on the station. All right? So, there is no way that that project will be completed anytime anytime before the middle of next year. All right? In the meantime, the officers are out of place down there. They start in the Skeet building. Hold on, let me finish a minute. All right? What I understand is that there was and still remains no blueprint for all of the work to be done, and therefore it is hop,
stop, and a drop.
Yeah, all right. Physical planning has no drawings of nothing, no electrical, no plumbing, no engineering drawings at all concerning the renovation, and the renovation is quite extensive. And that is why one of the reasons he's taking so long, because if there's no plan to work with the engineers who are on the ground, whether electrical or plumbing or whatever it is, masonry, they are going off of their own design, their own plans in their own heads.
Really?
Right? Now, you heard on that same tape, which I regret again, that was not in the playbook here. You would have heard the Premier saying it is a federal responsibility, and it is, for the most part. But there is also a part that the NIA is responsible for, and that is to the power supply to the station and to the fire hall is responsibility of the NIA. And they have known about this since the work started in 2023. They have not done a single thing to uphold their end of the cost or the work and saying it's a federal matter. It's a NIA plus federal development program. The NIA, right now as it exists, there's a single power line that comes in from the feed, from the pole. It's split in two on 1 meter. One leg goes to the fire hall, the other leg goes to the police station. Not good. Not good. You must be able to shut off each must have their own supply. The Brantley knows this, the government knows this, Spencer Brand knows this. All right? So if there's an incident at the fire hall, you have to shut down the police station. If there's an incident at the police station, you have to shut down the fire hall, as it is right now. There's no separate supply.
The things can happen at the same time.
No. All right? So when the Premier is talking about that it's a federal government responsibility, he's mostly right. But he also has responsibility. And they're not living up to that responsibility. And this is one of the reasons why the work is taking so long. And so, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Permanent Secretary, we need to do better than this. It's been 3 years come December. We need to do better than this. January, sorry. It's been 3 years. We need to get this thing done. All the scaffolding in the heart of Charleston, they need to come down. The offices need to go into the new refurbished quarters. Let us get it done. You were saying something, Hensley.
Yeah, I was saying, given how the CCM interprets and settles with finish, when he says that the station is going to be finished this year, in his mind he is putting it at the very basic level, not in any substantial matter, and figure that behind that, Kelly, is what he thinks is good for Nevis. You are speaking to what ought to be done properly. He, in his mind, is not thinking like that.
But how can you have, as the Premier of Nevis, with a Ministry of Communications and Works, with a minister who has toured the facility ever since the work started, and you saw him going to the tour, how can you be in charge of physical planning and not insist that proper designs of the engineering go into physical planning for approval?
Yes.
And for reference, just in case something happens, you need to find out, hey, show me on the plan where the switch is. Mm-hmm. It only makes common sense that things are done properly.
And in relation to that, Kel, you're talking about critical areas, security and one, and you're talking about fire. So imagine something goes wrong at the fire station.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, folks,
what role did physical planning play in the hospital New Wing.
Listen, physical planning did the best. I must confess. They were issued no project on Nevis.
Several stop orders were issued.
No project on Nevis, private or public, faced as many stop orders as was physical planning issued against the hospital.
And they went ahead.
They ignore them.
Okay. So the ministers do not see physical planning of any real worth, and so they go ahead and do what they did. This frightens me because I was told by a senior officer, top of the rank officer, says to me, Tulu, the Newcastle police station is finished. I said, what do you mean not finished? He said, listen, that is an empty shell. And if you think I'm making you go out there, I said, I don't have no reason to go inside the police station. He said, man, you just go and ask a question then, and you'll still go in and inside there. We reached to the point they said, listen, you can't even get a direct phone call into the police station.
So where are the officers now? For the castle.
They're out in the police station. They're in the building, but the building is not completed. So I asked, well, how do you move into it? And the leader of Nevis decided, hey,
it's time to move.
Whether it's finished, yes or not, it is time to move in, because if you don't move in, you're giving the opposition ammunition against me, and I prefer that they're in there with it incomplete. And it's incomplete up to this moment. So it's the very same thing might happen to Charlestown, where you're saying that they're going to move in at the end of this year. Incomplete.
We've been hearing them moving into the police station in Charleston for some time now.
Okay.
So this is just par for the course.
Let's go.
All right. Now, I was reading several articles today and yesterday. I'm not certain how truthful these articles are. I always like to get my own information firsthand, but sometimes you just have to go with it and ask a question. And the question I have to ask, if anybody's familiar with what's going on in the electoral office on St. Kitts, we are hearing that there has been a purge in the electoral office down there on St. Kitts, where persons who existed there have either been sent on retirement vacation or transferred elsewhere, and the office is being repopulated with supporters of the SKNLP. If that is true, we are in deeper trouble than I thought. Because, you see, it tells me that the SKNLP government on St. Kitts, they're now building into this idea that they need to control fully what goes on into the office at the detriment of all others. Drew, basically, if this is true, Dr. Drew is setting his field. Mark Brantley has already set his field with the Nevis electoral office. We all know what goes on there. We have written copiously to the Prime Minister, to the AG, to the Electoral Commission, to the supervised elections about matters of great importance to us in the NRP regarding how matters are handled at the electoral office, and nobody has responded. Okay? Nobody has responded. So if Dr. Drew is indeed setting the field at the electoral office on St. Kitts, making sure his people are there to do his bidding, is one less peg for democracy to stand on. Okay? I hope this is not true. I hope this is a natural attrition. People get to retirement age. The office is repopulated. But if it's indeed true, it is very troubling. Okay? Now, gentlemen, we move to the budget. Recurrent revenue. The budget for 2026 is a whopping $284 million approximately.
Recurrent?
No. Budget for the entire budget for the NIA for 2026 is approximately $284 million. The total debt, as reported in the estimates, is $541.4 million. So that is the basis on which we're going to start. Okay? Now, on page 49 of the budget address.
Sorry, the total debt you say is how much million?
541.4.
541.4.
Yeah.
Something missing in there, but anyway.
All right, so on page 49 of the budget address, paragraph 179,
Yes,
he says, it's a summary of the projected finances for the government expenditure programs as outlined. Current revenue, they're projecting a current revenue of $175.8 million. Most of that, of course, is coming directly from VAT. If you were to do a comparison as 2025, in 2025, for the entire year 2025, the government will have collected $42 million in VAT. The customs this last year, 2025, showed a significant decline in collections from VAT. Persons are simply not bringing in as much items or more expensive items as usual, and so the customs will have lost some ground there. It tells you the state of the economy, really. But the interesting parts are coming up. Two very interesting parts. First, of course, projected minimum revenues from CBI passport processing fees, the so-called fair share, the fair share argument, 35 million. 35 million. Before we get into the discussion, I'm just going to lay out all the other revenue streams. So we have 175.8 million from recurrent revenue, CBI passport fees, the fair share, 35 million, concessionary loans, 24 million, capital revenue, sale of government asset, 10 million, other grant funding, 4.8 million, for a grand total of $249.6 million. 249.6 minus the 284 leaves you with a deficit budget of $34.8 million. Another deficit budget. And a deficit budget is very, very simple. You are spending more than you have.
The water more than the flour.
You are spending more money than you're making. And if you were to compile all of the deficit budgets over the last 10 years, I'm certain it's close to 500 million in deficit spending. Okay? Now, let's get to the meat of the matter. First up, the CBI fair share arrangement. We have gone from 66 million to 35 million. And so come 2026, in January 2026, we will have 47%, I believe it is, 47%? Yeah, 47% less revenue from CBI than we had previously. I want you to hear what the Premier had to say exactly. So listen to this.
Oh my. Without delay, I will start with...
This is the Prime Minister, sorry. The Prime Minister, sorry.
Without delay, I will start with the matter of revenue sharing. I've been asked multiple times on this matter. I have already indicated that the World Bank, which was consulted to give to help to guide that process, has given its position. The cabinet, the federal cabinet, has looked at it, and the report was passed on to the Premier of Nevis and the Nevis Island Administration to have their own view of it and to study it as well. And I think that is basically completed on both sides, and thus we will meet, and that information will be shared with you, the public, and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Let me say, the Constitution is clear in terms of how revenue should be shared between St. Kitts and Nevis. The Constitution has a formula and a method, but basically what it deals with is the taxable revenue, or the tax base, the revenue base, the tax base, or revenue that is had from taxes. And basically, say the common services such as national security and so forth, those are paid first, and then what is left, 30% for 25% for Nevis Island Administration, and 75% for St. Kitts and Nevis, based on population. So it's based on population that division is made. However, when the CBI became a major income earner or major revenue source for the government, then that became a question as to how those revenues should be shared. Our own position is that the Constitution already give a guideline as to how revenues should be shared. And since a non-tax revenue source is a major part of our income, the decision in principle is to share it exactly how the Constitution says. Anything else outside of that will be a matter of the Constitution being affected. However, I would say that there has been much talk with respect to this, but I've indicated to our own Ministry of Finance that we should make sure that we follow the spirit of the Constitution in terms of sharing the revenues. And so I would say in short order, there will be a meeting between the Nevis Island Administration, the federal government, to look at the World Bank's report and to look at the recommendation from the World Bank. Notwithstanding that, I would say that the Constitution already has in it how the revenue of St. Kitts and Nevis should be divided. However, one has to take into account that even though the Constitution did not speak directly to non-taxable revenue, with the CBI proceeds being a major part of our income, I think it's only fair to bring that into serious discussion so that whatever is obtained, a sense of respect for the Constitution and also making sure that there is equity in terms of how we manage the situation. And so I just wanted to update on.
Good afternoon, you're on target.
Good afternoon, Daily.
Yeah.
We ain't supposed to listen in the line dangerous by there, you know. We need to say one, nothing where the Constitution says. We don't go beyond that. We want just like where the former government used to give to Nevis going forward. More. That is what we want. We don't want you here. We want to hear you, lie at you. You're the liar. Why you don't come and read the report? Read the report to St. Kitts and Nevis. That is what we want to hear. Why are you holding it up for? Is the libertarian their money? Is that the libertarian their money? It's a piece of document with St. Kitts and Nevis people must hear. Have a good afternoon, Daily.
Thank you, sir. No, gentlemen, hold on a second. Let me just get my thoughts together on this. Now, you heard clearly the Prime Minister saying that the common services, the cost of common services will be deducted. And then whatever left is divided on a population pro rata basis, 25-75. He said that clearly. He went on to say things like national security, meaning police, army, coast guard. What he left out, of course, were the foreign affairs. What he left out was social safety net programs, PFP, STEP, all those programs that Nevis is shared with. He said, before Nevis sees a dime, common services must be paid for. And then what's left is shared on a population pro rata basis. He got the population pro rata basis wrong. It's not 75-25. It's actually 74-26, based on the most recent population census. It's not 25-75. It's easy to say 1 quarter, 2, 3 quarters, but it's not that. But get to the meat of the matter. We are being told, and after I did my inquiry, that Branty believes, I don't know who gave him the belief or what assurances were given to him, is that there will be no deductions for common services where Nevis will be required to pay.
What?
That is what was relayed to me by people in the know. That the Premier is going under the assumption that what's there, the 140 million based on what this share is the gross.
Really?
He believes that 140 million is the gross, and therefore 25% of that belongs to Nevis, which comes to $35 million. That means 105 million goes to St. Kitts, as prescribed by the Constitution. But are these the real figures? Are we comfortable with the fact that in every previous conversation the Premier has had since he was a member of Team Unity and afterwards, his biggest complaint was that he never knew what inflows were. He never knew what was going into the consolidated fund. He had no knowledge of. Are we to suddenly believe
that he knows?
That he now knows? That the data is now shared with him on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, whatever? That he feels comfortable that Nevis' share is actually 35 million and not anything more or less? Why did he accept the 35 million? What evidence was presented to him for them to accept 35 million as being our share? So you go on 47% less and you simply accept it? You have not come to the public and said, yes, I have seen the figures. I have verified the figures. They are what they are. I am comfortable with this. What we got instead was 2 lines in the estimates, 2 lines in the budget address. 2 lines. Well, how can I find the lines here now? Yeah, here it is. Madam President, I am to announce that through negotiations with the federal government, an agreed share 25% of CBI flows will now come to the NIA, realizing a long advocated for position of my government such revenue will be shared on a pro rata population basis.
Rubbish.
He says, to be conservative, we have budgeted the amount of 35 million as a moderate share of revenue from the program for the coming fiscal year. Even though we have made this modest projection, we are still hopeful that the actual revenue will surpass this amount, thus providing additional revenue to fund the daily expenditure of government. This is who we sent to Bastia?
You can't believe this.
This is who we sent to represent us in Bastia?
Yes.
You need to repeat that.
That he's willing, that he's just simply going to accept that what he's being told is the receipts from the fair share.
You say he negotiated, right? He got the term negotiated is not there. He didn't say he negotiated it.
This is ridiculous. This is not representation. This is not representation. We send you to Bastia, all 3 of you,
and it's a senator.
plus the senator. You've been complaining incessantly of the lack of information regarding receipts, the inflows from CBI. You now come to the people with a budget and tell us we are going to accept $35 million because, do you say so?
It was negotiated. That's what he said. That's not the term he used there.
Let's go to the call, yeah? Let me cool down a little bit here. Good afternoon, on target.
Dr. Daly, good afternoon to you and the guys.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
2 smart, the other 1 smart door.
Mm-hmm.
The Premier of Nevis boasts about the relationship with him and the former administration. The former Prime Minister said every time the Premier wants money, he gets money. He referred to him as a bad spender, but money was given. Well, this is what the outcome is for bringing down your own government. He was a part of, and Nevis was being paid handsomely. This is where he lead Nevis. His name shouldn't be on a ballot paper again, because he has lead us right in the gut. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. It is, listen, if you're not going to ask, and if you can't tell the people of Nevis
money is X,
that you have seen the data,
it is X,
that you accept the data, because in January of this year, January 2025, right, the CIU published the data that says revenues have bumped up 169%.
No, applications.
Applications have bumped up 169%. Well, how is it that you're getting 169% increase in applications?
And no money?
And no money follow that? No money follow that.
This is what you call voodoo economics.
So in January, you had 169%. And in December, you're telling us, come January, 47% cut in your allocation? No,
No, well, with the application should have come more money.
Something right here.
So you have the applications. So what happened with the applications? They didn't result in any actual closure of the deal?
Let's go to the phone now. Good afternoon, on target.
Daily, you ain't got no stats concerning what Timothy used to give him.
I got Timothy used to give me $66 million a year.
Tell the people, Daily. It's important. People is listening. People want the information. Think it's Nevis people. You forget things very quick, you know. The man is a liar. He and Joyce, two liars. Look how they look. Look how they look now. No budget time. Man, my family Carla is supposed to rub them out. Rub them out like the jean pants them. We're going to go wash tomorrow. There's a set of liars. The people that think it's Nevis shouldn't be voting for them again. There's a set of vagabonds. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, sir. Now, under the previous administration, from since 2021, I believe, 2020. Help me out here, fellas. 2020 or 21, somewhere there. We were made aware that the share of CBI going to Nevis was 66 million.
Yeah.
66 million, $5.5 billion a month. We are now being told, as of January, that that share is now cut from 66 million to 35 million.
But you have an increase of 169% in application.
Yeah. So
the revenue sharing started out, we were getting 30 million under Van Samwe as premier. Under Brantley first stint, or early part of his stint, it bumped up from 30 to 45. And then he renegotiated again, and it went up from 45 to 62. And so we bump it up. So at the last count, we were getting 62 million, 66 million per year. What the Premier and the Prime Minister has done is to make us believe that $35 million is more than 66.
I don't believe that.
Well, that's why he say negotiated.
Good afternoon, you're on target.
Good afternoon again, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir.
Dr. Daly, I think you must be reading the budget wrong, you know.
In what way?
So you're telling me that a supreme negotiator goes down to Bastille, right, and negotiates a $30-something million reduction in how much money we get from CBI?
Yeah.
$31 million.
Yes.
Yeah. Brilliant negotiator.
You were getting 66 million and you decided to negotiate it down to 35?
Because 35 is better than 66.
No, 35 is a better share because it's fair share.
Oh, okay.
What you were getting wasn't fair.
But thank God I didn't read the budget because I might have lose my mind.
Thank you, caller. All right.
You know,
hold on there, another call. Good afternoon, you're on target. Oh, well, we lost that call. Let me tell you something, right? Perhaps because of my training in science, nobody gonna bring data to me that somebody has contrived. I want to do it myself. Show me the figures. Let me work out my maths myself.
Let the data speak.
All right?
Let the data speak.
But because you know how to do it.
No, but let the data speak.
Good afternoon, on target.
Can't make decisions without data.
Let's say to your brother Daily.
Good afternoon.
And good day to your panel there, Brother Daniel and Brother Tulu. And to your listeners. And I find this very obvious, this change how I expressing our feelings, but not expressing the truth. And it's very important that you all must stop listening to people, not from just how I carrying out the general aspect to feel like this here is what with the NRP or the CCM pursuing their leadership role as it's supposed to state, and the wrongs are being done to the people of Nevis. Why is it not none of you gone jail yet? For all the wrong I've done. But I are still here operating to bring ourselves, making it sound like I are so genuinely clear about the development of people of Nevis. And even to think it's in particular, because all these politicians set of cooks and parasites. I am ready to rise the people. I just ready to say I could gain for I want success. This time now we don't with this jokey party politics and look at nation development and nationhood. We ain't gonna get in that level up to this day. How much of you children them understand the history what Nevis went through during the colonial time and what the struggle that the ancestors them had to fight to overcome these kind of things. And now I are telling me now that these people coming here to be a recolonizer to our people and everything is all because ain't enough favor for a party. A party is against something and then another one coming saying, oh, it's development. Or is it success for the people? If it's a development. Where is it? Because you two call and parties waged the program at time and chat some kind of nonsense. Me trying to wonder if I really see to educate the people. Not trying to wonder that. This is why I am speaking to you all, so I'm not here to challenge no politician and whoever bribing to try to say they are in leadership role unless they are not really serious about emphasizing bringing changes to development to the people and not to our own success or personal gain and our family personal gain. This is what hurting St. Kitts and Nevis people over the years. From the time the inception when we move away from them cooks we call colonizers and then we take into the aspect of when we call in them time when we ancestors fought against the colonizers for change and we say we got into adult suffering and up to this day we still in adult suffering because we ain't have land or we are talking about land and we ain't have the land for oneself. We are all covered one here. We tell now we wake up as a people and revolutionary changes for each and every young ones who coming along and start trying them with a lot of lies and deception. So I'll have a lovely day.
Thank you, man. All right. I see somebody named James Richards say we are misleading the people. In what aspect, Mr. Richards? Because if we are saying that the Prime Minister, and we have him on recording, said that before any money comes to Nevis regarding fair share, common services have to be paid for. We have not heard any retraction of that. We have not heard any alteration of that position. So are we to assume that the Prime Minister was lying when he said that common services will be deducted? Do you know something that we don't know? Perhaps you can share any new information regarding what the Prime Minister said regarding common services being paid for by both countries, by both islands. Because it's on record that this is what he said. Mark Brantley has not said one way or the next whether common services have been reduced or been taken out from the equation. We have not heard anything about that. He simply stated the fact that we are now getting 35 million. So is the 35 million, is the 31 million we're getting less? Is that part of the common services that we have, is that our share of the cost of common services? Is the $31 million taken out, Mr. James Richards, a part of the common services, the total cost, the global cost of the common services that is now Nevis' share, the 31 million? Because that is at the core of this argument. How did you arrive at 35? Is it based only on the fact that, based on what the Prime Minister is saying, that we have less revenue? Or is it the fact that we have now been charged for common services on the Nevis end? That is why our share has now come down to 35 million. We need clarity on this. The Premier has not made any comment in the estimates. He had every opportunity to go in front of the Parliament in Nevis, in the Assembly of Nevis, and tell people exactly how this 35 came about. He simply stated the fact.
It's negotiated.
Right? He stated the fact that we are now population per rata basis 25-75. As if there is no conversation about common costs or common services.
Common services.
Which the Prime Minister said must come out. So if there's something else we're missing, then we need to know.
And this idea, Kel, just to say this idea to call on the radio station or to write and say that you're misleading the public. Well, you just said something. You said we deal with evidence, we deal with statistics, we deal with data. What does the data show? We are simply referring to what they tell us. So saying it and saying if the information is uncomfortable, that doesn't make it false.
Listen.
It doesn't make it false.
We need clarity. We need clarity. Is the $31 million less we are getting
part of
common services?
And if so, how is it that common services cost so much money?
Right? And if, well, you see, there's a lot of money, Remember, the Sinkers budget is almost $1 billion. So if you got common services coming out with the value of $31 million, as Nevis, it's fair share. You're talking about police, Coast Guard, Army, prisons, social safety net programs, foreign services. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Then you're talking about membership fees in agencies, PAHO, UN, everybody. It's a lot of money. The question is the 31 million reflective of those costs? That's all I want to find out.
Then the other question must be, where does Nevis sit? Do we get a chance to determine those who takes part in those services? And to determine
I hate ignorant people, We've been asking questions all day. We need clarity. Now this gentleman is going to ask me, state evidence based on the figures, please. What evidence? What evidence has been presented? The Prime Minister made a statement that common services will be deducted. That's clear. Very, very clear. Did the Prime Minister stick to his guns and deduct the common services cost before that money is left is shared up 25-75? It's a simple question.
Well, we're not supposed to be told how much the common services will be, Navy share? Are we not supposed to be
If we are not going to be told what the common services are, the total, then we're still spinning in mud. We don't know.
We don't know.
And these are the kind of things the Premier need to come to the people of Nevis and say, you have had a conversation, negotiation with the Prime Minister regarding all of these costs. Right? I'm bringing to the people now, through these negotiations, that we have agreed the common services value was 100 million. Nevis' share is 31 million. Tell us the truth. Because if you don't tell us the truth, then we are free to assume anything. So let's get that straight. Let's go to the phone lines. Good afternoon, you're on target.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, gentlemen. I got something simple and fundamental to say, right? Listen to this carefully. Danny, how you doing, man? Danny, man?
Ask a question, brother. We ain't got time.
Yeah, hold on. Just hear me out. Why the word negotiate got to be used when the terms is already spelled out? You heard that clip when you just played with Dr. Drew?
Mm-hmm.
He's going back to the pro rata
population
arrangement
basis.
From the yes. Okay, so why would they have to be negotiation? I just want all the people in
That's an excellent question.
Why would they have to be negotiation when it's already set out?
Exactly.
Man, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis is being taken for a ride. Why is Brantley all of a sudden so comfortable accepting that 35 million from the CBI when he said he himself and his people did an investigation in one of those years prior? They raked in 588 million in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we coming forward to now, yeah. But if this is the case now, Nevis need to sue St. Kitts for all the money that they've never gotten in prior years.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful for what you ask for. Man, the place is running like a shoestring, bro. Like a banana republic. We need new managers of our money, plain and simple. Thanks a lot, man.
You made some excellent point, caller. Why negotiate if you're simply going to go back to the pro rata population base? They doesn't need to negotiate. So the only thing left to negotiate is the common services.
So either you exclude the common services,
or you include it,
or you include the common services. That's it.
That's it. Simple as that.
So is it that? So you let us suppose, girl, you had $600 million. The total $600 million. All right, 25.75. Story done.
Story done.
But
story done. Let's get this call here. Somebody been trying to call in for the longest while. Good afternoon. You're on target.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
To you and your panelists.
Long time to hear.
Now, I find this discussion very interesting. I thought they said they got 39, but they got 35.
35, yes.
CBI funds.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, now he skillfully presented a budget that shows that unless Destiny project is approved,
Mm-hmm.
Nevis will go into recession.
Mm-hmm.
So it puts the onus now on the opposition and the citizens to decide which one they prefer. It means, therefore, that the opposition will have to begin to formulate their policies to avoid such a crash. I said there will be no capital projects because there's no money.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the reduction in the allocation to the payments, that has gone down not almost, maybe more than 50%. It would therefore mean that some persons will have to be let go unless they can find work in the private sector.
Mm-hmm.
So has the NRP begun to look at that? It has implications, you know.
Yeah.
Like the Republican and the Democrat, with how are they going to lower the insurance?
Mm-hmm.
Once they say, look, we have our policy renewals. So the NRP will have to begin to, in addition to protesting, work out if they win the election, how are they going to get around resuscitating the economy?
Excellent.
That's the question.
Excellent point. Excellent point.
You
Thank you.
understand my question?
Yes, of course. Excellent point. Thank you very much.
You know, just to underscore something the caller said again. You see, here what the caller says, the Premier has made a position that, based on the budget, that, hey, the only way forward is destiny.
Before the budget, he said that.
Destiny. So you either go to depression you're going in is not just saying depression is that's where it's heading.
So so to the same point though, if destiny decides to pull the plug for whatever reason, even without getting arrangement done, then where does that leave us?
Still in the hole.
You're still in the hole.
It's still in the hole.
We're in the hole because
we're in the hole before destiny, and destiny is not going to take us out of any hole.
They put us in a deeper hole.
Exactly.
Because destiny
is about destiny.
Destiny man said they're going to be using CBI. But again, when we look at the argument made by the Prime Minister for revenue sharing and going back to the Constitution, it should show to the people of Nevis how foolhardy it was of the concerned citizens movement, both under Vance Amri and Mark Brantley, in pulling us out of the revenue sharing mechanism that is enshrined in the Constitution. Okay? Whether it is VAT, whether it is the consolidated funds or out of the revenue sharing, or no non-tax thing. Is showing how foolhardy it is. We would have been benefiting tremendously if we had stayed in those agreements.
I agree. But you realize something the Prime Minister never said in his whole talk? He never moved to say we're going to amend the Constitution to now include non-taxable revenue as in the revenue sharing mechanism. He never made no mention of anything. Right? So this arrangement still is not qualified.
No.
All right? We have not moved the ball. We have gone backward, actually, because we're now getting less money.
But Kelly, you have said this several times. If you want to make a difference, hit the Constitution. Make the Constitution.
Good afternoon. You're on target.
Daly, good afternoon. And Tulu, excellent point. Mr. Daly, we have done move away from that. Why is it you can't go beyond the 60 and the $60-something million? Why you got to go back there? Why? Need to send you out that. And we've lost money to take them kind of things. We've got to get more money out of that. Then going back to the Constitution. We don't pass that. In 7 years, he been taking money from Timothy. What the hell we going back there for? Let me move forward. Chant a new course going forward. They don't care about us. But he ain't going to get it at the millions where he's trying to get it. It wouldn't happen at all. Because we're going to fight against it big time. Oh, God.
Thank you, sir. I look forward to the presentation of the SKNLP budget because those numbers of receipts, the receipts and inflows will be recorded. Because I remember in past budgets, you would see how much money from CBI goes into recurrent expenditure. I think last year, if I recollect,
600 million.
it was a lot. I think it was some 50% of the budget
600 million.
came out of CBI. Now, if you're saying to us that you only collected 140 million this year, and therefore you are mirroring that going to happen next year in 2026, and therefore reduce our share based on that $140 million. It'd be interesting to see what figures they use in their own budget. It'd be very, very interesting to see what they use to fund their budget with. Because it will tell us, well, if you're only getting 105 million of your share, and you're now using 600 million to fund your budget, where do you get that additional 495 million from? It'd be very, very, very interesting conversation to have. But
I think the part of the difficulty in the government is that I believe the easier thing to do always is to present the information, let the people see the data. The Premier comes to us and says, oh, revenues are down from CBI by $31 million.
How he knows all of a sudden?
How he knows?
All of a sudden he knows.
How?
A man who said he was in the yard, he wasn't in cabinet when a lot of decisions were being made, blah, 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 blah. He is now fully abreast of the inflows into CBI. I do not bite for 1 second.
So you don't...
This is the heart of the problem we are facing in this democracy. You have the Premier who is begging on one hand as the Premier of Nevis, and leader of the opposition on the other hand. They cannot work together.
So you don't believe that the Prime Minister told him how much inflows from CBI we got?
I don't know I do not know. But you, as the leader of the opposition,
say what it is.
Should be in the House, making sure you hold the government to account. Make sure this data is available. You are the head of the budget committee, the public accounts committee.
But he told he was not going to do it.
The most powerful committee where you have access to this data. Come on, man.
Public accounts.
He told you he was not going to do
This
it.
relationship between Dr. Drew and Mark Brantley is too comfortable for democracy to work. It is too comfortable for democracy to work. They're each guarding each other's territory.
No, it just means that...
And the people are being left out.
No, the Premier can't be the leader of the opposition in St. Kitts. He just can't. That's just foolishness. The Premier is not supposed to be the leader of the opposition.
Well, history would have proven that when Van Sammy twice was the Premier of Nevis, and twice he didn't take on the position.
Because you got to be talking to the Prime Minister.
He held it for a little bit, then he gave it up.
I like this comment by Azel Brown. Don't tell me, show me the data.
Exactly.
Do not tell me.
But that's what we're saying.
Show me the data.
That's what we're saying all afternoon. Show us the data.
Right? And you can't, that's encapsulated everything we've been saying.
Decisions are made with data. So
anyhow, we're moving on because
one other thing I'd like to say, though, Kel, quickly on the Nevis budget. A budget is your major policy. Were you able to tell from the budget where the government is heading in terms of of its priorities? No. Is it education? No. Is it investment? Is it agriculture? What is it? Because when you read a budget, you should say, all right, boy, this government is X or Y. Can you say that?
You asked me a question, let me answer you. Let me answer you. Based on what I've read in the Premier's address in the budget, the only industry that commanded his respect, where he got, two full pages of commentary, is the movie industry, the film industry. The only one. So if you ask me where the country is moving, and you look at the allocation of $1 million to the movie industry, plus maintaining its offices and blah, 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 he is hell-bent on the movie industry.
Okay.
Let's take the phone call. Good afternoon, you're on target.
Dr. Haley, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
And good afternoon, Tulu and Hensley and all the listeners. Just before you move on from this, let me put in our input. And it makes sense. If I really follow him, it makes sense. Now, it was Premier Joe alone got the World Bank. President Brantley, I go with for the report, you know. He alone. Now, he alone make the decision and say, the Constitution. You get that?
Yes.
Now watch. Premier Grand Prince talk about fair share. Prime Minister just talk about revenue sharing. And I get up. So then me and you can share revenue too, and I will get $100. Me can give you a whole lump and it makes but I because I'm not following the line. How we go? So that's why you're so confused. Okay then.
Right, thank you, man. Fair share and revenue sharing are two different things.
Totally different story.
All right, but we got to move on. It's 10 minutes to 3, and we not even scratch what we plan to do. Not even scratch. The another line item on this matter is capital revenue. The government is saying that they're going to raise 10 million from capital revenue. From capital revenue, they're going to raise 10 million, and it's coming from the sale of government assets. And the first question, of course, is exactly what is the government selling?
Which assets?
What is the government selling? How much and to whom? Those are the 3 questions. How much? To whom? What asset? Let's deal with the first. What asset? The asset is a portion of the lands, untitled lands that were discovered over there in the SSZ. Remember, I reported to you sometime that the government, through a cadastral survey, was able to say they found in inverted commas, 220 acres of lands in the zone. The Premier said he was minded and were in negotiations to transfer or to swap, the entirety of the 200 plus acres with lands owned already by Destiny and Olivia Jansen. That he was minded to negotiate away the 220 acres for lands elsewhere on Nevis, owned by Destiny and Olivia Jansen's. He had every opportunity then to disclose at the same point he said that we're also contemplating selling some of it to Destiny. Because you see, this budget, it goes to the printers 2 months before it goes to Parliament. That means whatever is written here, he knew of 2 months ago. Minimum 2 months ago. Nowhere in any conversation the Premier has had did he indicate anything regarding the sale of lands. Matter of fact, he went the other way. Hear what he had to say.
All this chatter and this hysteria. I can tell you that we have had an initial approach by some developers who said they want to do a development along that coast. Nothing formal in terms of a formal submission has come to the cabinet. So as we are sitting here tonight, I cannot say to you in good conscience that we have a project that has come and that is being discussed. We have said to those potential developers, the government doesn't own any land in the area, so if you want to do development that involves land, go and talk to the landowners and see who is willing to sell you their land. Well, so I need to ask the question this way. If you own a piece of land and you decide you're going to sell your land, what do you want the government to do about that? Can we stop you from selling your land? We can't. Can we tell you that who to sell your land to? How much to sell it for? None of those things involve the government. So you have private individuals being approached about whether they're willing to sell their private land, and people cussing the government and saying the government is involved in this and that. We're not involved in anything. You're either going to sell your land or you're not going to sell your land.
The government is not involved in anything. The government ain't got no land to sell. Going blah, blah, blah. The government discovered 220 acres.
Immediately they're going to sell.
And immediately,
we're going to sell.
We're going to sell. And we're going to swap. We have no land in the area. They found land. They're going to sell 80 acres of it for $10 million. That comes out to about $2.95 a square foot.
What?
That's what it comes out to. Who is involved in this? Who is making the money off of this commission? I don't know.
Who is the real estate?
I don't know.
We know.
I don't know. Nobody gonna sue me. I don't know.
I know.
You can free to make any assumptions you want.
You know, Tulu?
Yeah.
I don't know who the real estate company is that did the transfer. I do not know. All right? You can conclude whatever you want. The fact remains The Premier has yet to come to the people
and say this.
And say this. Even in the budget address,
No
he
mention.
never mentioned a word about this $10 million coming from the sale of lands to Destiny. Jesus wept. This is the same man who is on a recording saying the government has no land. They can't tell people what to sell, or who to sell to, or how much to sell for. You had an opportunity, Mr. Premier. You were before the people in the People's Assembly
2 hours and more.
on Tuesday.
For 2 hours and more, Kel.
And you never once mentioned that $10 million was being raised from the sale of people's lands, the people of Nevis land. Where are we going with this guy?
But you don't have to tell you. He has already told us that he do what he wants. Our voices ended when we voted. Anything comes between there, he do whatever he wants in the administration. He don't have to tell you anything. He doesn't have to listen to you. He made that abundantly clear to us. What are we going to do?
I'm at a loss, gentlemen. Because the reason I'm at a loss, you heard the Premier on multiple occasions say the government has no land for low-income housing, for affordable homes. They borrowed $3 million from TDC Financial Services to purchase the lands up at Ghana's estate for affordable homes. You discovered 220 acres.
And you're going to buy land?
You discovered 220 acres
And
that
you borrow money
in
to buy
most likely belong to somebody or people on Nevis. Never once advertised
to give people the chance
for persons to come forward and say, lay your claim. This is where we discovered this land. It's bounded by this other piece on the west and this other piece on the north, on this piece by the south. Come and make a claim. You have 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days, something. Nothing was said. And you quietly,
easy,
making negotiations with Johnson, Nevis South, to sell him 80 and to transfer and to swap the rest. What devil are we working with here? What devil are we working with? When there's such a need for affordable homes on Nevis, you have taken the side of Destiny over the people of Nevis?
Yes.
Let's take this call.
And land for agriculture, poultry.
Good afternoon. You on target?
Good afternoon to you all.
Good afternoon. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon. You can hear me?
Very loud and clear.
Yes. What I got to say? My grandfather is the brightest man. Come from where he lives there now. He's the from his road to where he be. Because remember he get three where you call them, whether distinction or whatever, from up there down in the Caribbean. He was the brightest man. But right now here, he is the dumbest man who comes from down here in the Caribbean. He was getting 66 and now he dropped to 35. And he comfortable. He was out in the yard. But better he stay out in the yard all the time because he was but not actually time in the house getting 35. Who is fooling who? That stupid dumbbell by the family. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
I take no pleasure.
No, I'm serious.
No, the guy raised the question.
I
You better stand here.
yeah, I can't about calling my premier.
When you get out, when you really sit down and digest what happened, digest the fact that, and I like this comment by this person here. Let me put it up for you. He says, my mouse is slow. Erskine Nisbet. He says, those lands are not found lands. Those lands are people's lands.
Of course.
The premier is playing games, playing a serious game.
You know what that strike me of, Ken?
You can't just find 200 acres.
Yeah, you know what?
In lands that people used to walk.
You know that reminds me something of? There's a gentleman from Cox named Canon Pemberton used to be the shoemaker.
Okay.
One afternoon, somebody tell him, Canon, I find $20 in your yard. Canon say, boy, you can't find nothing in me yard. That money belongs to me. It's in my yard.
Yeah.
Similarly, Kel, how the government get to find untitled land in Nevis? Those lands, you were just making the point. For instance, I have a piece of land. Next to another man, 4 acres, is untitled, but it adjoins mine. So I don't think the people know who lands.
And that is why they didn't publish anything.
People know whose land adjoin the land.
This level of deception
is bad.
By the people, by the Premier of Nevis, no less.
It's bad.
This level of deception. To accomplish what?
But Kelly just raised a question here. If you find land in Nevis, you should be saying, aha, Archimedes, I have found it. You want land for housing, you want land for poultry, you want land for crop farming, you want land for livestock. So you put the land in the public and say, look, I'm going to give you 18 months. That's not a long time, Kelly.
But this guy...
Give people 18 months to identify the land.
So let me ask the question then. If this project falls through, this SSC Destiny falls through.
Or when it falls through.
What becomes then of all those lands?
If Johnson has the title, then they are his lands.
No, they return to sender.
Return to what?
Return to...
But you remember, and from what I understand from very, very, very informed sources, the NIA did not get the courtesy of any better deal than any regular landowner in Nevis. They got the same 1%.
Oh, well, all right.
They got the same 1%.
So
even this 10 million that Brantley has put in here, it's not really real money,
It's 1%.
It's 1% of a promise.
So what's wrong with overturning 1% of a promise?
Anyhow.
What is wrong with overturning? You take some lands which you are not sure, you don't know who they belong to. You say give them to Tulu. The project falls through. We return to thing. Kel, is this a case for another judicial review?
Before I forget, let me give a shout out to the Nevis Association of South Florida.
Oh, yeah.
The President Clinton Weeks and founder Avenel Green. They're celebrating 17 years of existence. They're having a banquet, fundraising banquet this evening. Steve Manners is the honored guest.
Oh, it's this evening?
Yeah.
It's so early.
Saturday evening, this evening. And, the Nevis Association of South Florida, they're an organization that bridges the gap between those in the diaspora, of course, those here at home. They have made significant donations over time to sports on Nevis, health care on Nevis, food hampers, food baskets, Culturama. They have done it all. So I wish them all the best on their presentation tonight, their banquet tonight. And to my good friend, Mr. Weeks, Mr. Clinton Weeks, who, he has been quite generous to 2020 Vision Radio. I say no more than that. He wish, of course, in the background, but 17 years, Nevis Association of South Florida.
Don Leibert is the featured speaker or something?
Something like that.
And Steve is the honoree?
Yeah. So tonight, if you're in the area of South Florida, go out and give your support to this wonderful organization. Gentlemen, we have to move on real quick. It's now 3:05, and I don't want to belabor people's patience with us. Just to say, two small things before we close off. I would not be able to go through everything else that I wanted to do, so we'll say that for next week. The Alexandria Hospital extension was allocated $8 million for this year, 2026.
8 out of 80.
Remember last year it was 12, and the year before it was 10. It doesn't mean again that it's only going to get spent at all. All right. Now you would have heard the premier, and this is the premier at his. I want you to hear him for himself. So he listened to this.
On the hospital, and the the video, we are seeing that they are saying that they would help with the hospital, or help with the hospital. The question is whether we are talking about the failed project of the wing of the hospital, or a movement forward on the hospital.
Okay, so the hospital project is the wing and the overall development of our healthcare facilities on the island. That is what we are seeking to have completed, and that is why we have decided to partner. Now, just so I explain why this has become important, there was at some point by these developers a suggestion that they would develop their own healthcare facilities inside the zone. And we said to them, rather than doing that, why not partner with us and develop the healthcare facilities in Nevis generally, so that everybody can benefit from those facilities. And so that was how we arrived at that particular position.
Mark Brantley, you know.
What do you say, Ken?
Hold on there. Hold on. To most of us on this side of reality, the premiership and the office of the premier must mean something. It means you are in leadership of this country. It does not mean you farm out your responsibility to some developer, some private developer. It does not mean that you have that option. We are now being told that the NIA intends to partner with the developers of Destiny, further absorbing the premiership onto themselves, further putting the people of Nevis on ransom. Because if you're now abrogating, if you're now offloading your responsibilities to some entity, then who answers to who? Who do we answer to? The premier or to Oliver Johnson's? Where do we go as a people when your premiership, your office of the premier is being vacated and Oliver Johnson is sitting in the chair? I've never seen an instance where any Caribbean government or any government in the world, matter of fact, that I know of, will see their responsibility for public good to a private organization. How will you get these things done? You're now taking responsibility away from yourself for dialysis, for heart health, for renal care, for whatever it is, and putting it in the hands of somebody you're trying to get money from. This is ridiculous.
And you believe they will pay attention to the people as opposed to them?
No, man, they look after them. Because in addition to what you said, Daly, remember he's talking about that he's discussing with them to develop the support. He's telling them, don't develop your own support again. Partner with us to develop our support. Don't look for your own energy. Partner with us. So everything that he has renegotiated and he's put it in the hand of Johnson. Johnson is the one who is holding the handle. The premier and the people that is holding the blade.
Let's take this call. Good afternoon, you're on target.
Good afternoon again.
Yes.
A question. The main thrust for Destiny is by libertarian folks, right? Am I correct?
Yes.
Isn't one of the fundamental things about the libertarian approach that you pay for all services?
Yes.
So no government, you pay for what you get. You pay for security, you pay for waste disposal, you pay for healthcare.
Yes.
So if we partner with Destiny to improve and upgrade and have first world A1 healthcare services, if Destiny is involved with the libertarian mindset, are we now going to have to pay full whack for it?
I don't know. I
Those are questions
All,
which have to be
all I
answered.
know
If
is
you make a partnership with a Libertarian, and especially if they're providing the cash, it would be reasonable to expect that the Libertarians will insist on Libertarian values of the services to be granted, to be given. So, all of these things are dangerous. I'm saying that if we partner with them and they spruce up our healthcare services, we may have to start paying full cost for healthcare services.
no doubt.
They're not going to be subsidized.
Caller, one thing about libertarians, I mean, perhaps the name libertarians is a misnomer. But they are very, very conservative when it comes to capital. When it comes to money, they don't believe the government should be interfering with their profits. They don't want any taxation codes. They don't want anything. So you can expect this is a purely capitalistic
free market,
dog eat dog market. You understand?
When this is all done, who's going to be able to afford healthcare on this?
Who? Not me for sure.
Oh, the libertarians, I suppose.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
all
you.
right.
So you see, what
That's
it is,
an
right?
important point there,
Who
no
pays
subsidies.
the piper? Who pays the piper? Calls the tune.
But no subsidies going to be part
All right. So these people are going to look to be recovering their money,
of course,
from the investment
and that profit,
of course. So when you hear people, and it pains me that divisions are so ill-formed, because when the Premier gave his speech about ceding the development of the hospital and healthcare to this private investor, they were clapping.
People clap.
People are clapping.
A couple of people, a couple.
Showing the total ignorance on matters such as this.
But we have more people groaning than those who are clapping, because
Right.
I was in of those who are groaning.
So we are now looking at partnerships to take over geothermal, partnership for healthcare, partnership for education, partnership for ports and these things.
Those
here.
are not partnerships, those are surrendering.
Well-
We're surrendering key elements of our patrimony to libertarian.
Sold it.
No, not sell. You're giving them
Let's take
away.
this call. That's our last call for today. Good afternoon, caller. Congratulations, you're the last call for today.
Okay, last quick question. The cholesterol map that you referred to, right?
Yes.
Does that map shows ownership of all of the other lands except those 200 acres?
Yes.
Thanks.
All right. Now, I don't for a moment believe that these untitled lands were always untitled. Titles got lost in the registry.
Of course.
Because if, like I keep saying, if you ever had occasion to go into the registry, maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, it was, files were just deteriorated.
And you're right, because I know of one person who had lands over there, took me to show me the land that they had. But the person had no children, and they have since died. Okay? They had a lawyer who was looking after it. The lawyer has since died. Okay? There was another brother who had land in the same zone, and that brother had no children either. But I was shown where the lands are. So maybe those are some of the land that nobody will be able to claim unless there's a nephew or somebody down the line. But I know the one that showed me his land, the only person who was next to it, he had a lawyer, and his lawyer was
and just to say, Kel, that there are people who live in the United States for a long time, come back, and I have had an opportunity to assist them to find out, and were able to track and get their land and so on, because they remember X and Y, and you go through. So it's really unfair to people to rush to transfer these lands.
But we all understand. We all understand why they rush.
Yes.
We all understand they were trying to meet the quota of 2,400 acres of lands to start their project. We know for a fact that they were given an ultimatum of December 31st to get this thing done.
People giving government ultimatum.
Well, what's new?
Oh, yes. But they you know something? Somebody sent me something from the United States, they're a friend of mine. And they said to me, Destiny, what they want is bigger than the whole of St. Paul's. I didn't realize that.
St. Paul could fit in the Destiny.
When the person said, what?
6 square miles to do.
St. Paul is
not 6 square miles.
St. Paul is barely 1 square mile.
I thought about 1.5.
1.2, I believe.
So people need to understand. When they say that,
You didn't realize that?
I don't know the whole size of St. Paul's. We say, what?
St. Paul only run from Quadrico to Bath, you know?
And our street it is as well.
Go up under
So we are bringing people inside. They're going to come pass and inhabit a part of Nevis that are about twice the size of St. Paul's.
That's part of the trouble.
Let me close with this.
Just before you close, Gil, I just want to say one last thing. Just to note, today is the funeral for Ken Williams, who was a very good man and used to teach people children, even though he worked at the credit union, teach them POB and thing. And so I just want to say that I hope his family can cope with his loss. He had made a huge contribution to Nevis. May his soul rest in peace.
Thank you very much for that. I close with this by saying again, I repeat, the Prime Minister has said there has been no signed agreement. He has not seen the project document, the Destiny document. He said he has not seen it. I again hold him responsible for that because you should have seen it by now to see exactly what you voted on in terms of the SSC. I am disappointed that we have no more clarity on this fair share after the report has come back since March of 2025. We have not seen the documentation. We don't know on what basis they're acting to reduce Nevis' share to 35%, 35 million. There are a lot of questions regarding this repeal matter before the Prime Minister. He is not backing down from the repeal, saying that it will be a bad decision given the fact that the other projects will be now left in the lurch in the cabinet, in the dark rooms of the cabinet to decide, which I totally disagree. I don't see the connection between Destiny, the SSC, and other legislation that will guide the development of other major projects on St. Kitts and Nevis. All right, so we have the Prime Minister, they have the Premier of Nevis, who has now indicated to us that lands on Nevis, 80 acres to be exact, will be sold to Destiny. The others being used as land swap. The total value, nobody knows. There's enough here. There's enough here to charge the government, to charge Mark Brandt as Premier of Nevis with misfeasance in public office. The implication of his wife being a part and parcel of being the only and exclusive agent for the real estate company, with him approving the sales of lands, him directing how much lands are to be sold for, where the lands are to be swapped for, to me constitutes a conflict of interest. His wife's profit will depend on what decisions he makes as Premier. That is a conflict. Whether she makes $1 million or less is wholly dependent on what he decides to do. That is a conflict. I think there's enough here to lay charges of corruption against this government using the Anti-Corruption Act that was passed last year. Mark Brandt did indicate in his contribution when the bill was before the government, before the Parliament, that this is a check the box operation. But we really need to look at seriously the criminality of this whole transaction. There are persons who believe wholeheartedly, that had it not been for monies passed to the government of both St. Kitts and Nevis, that this bill would have been dead already, given the level of opposition out there in the public. This tidal wave of opposition, with nobody of any substance supporting this Destiny SSC. It's leading people to conclude that these two governments are being compromised. And that is why we're not getting any traction with the Prime Minister or the Premier in backing down from this bill, this act. All right? I think we are now past the point of talking. We're past the point of rallies. I think we now need to proceed to criminal investigations of this government. And I'm serious about that. I really wish I had the resources to implement it on my own. But such is the seriousness of this matter. Such is the abuse of government. Such is the abuse and misfeasance of public office by the Premier and his colleagues in government. It rises to the level of misfeasance and possibly malfeasance in public office. It is something that needs to be pursued. All right, we are done for today. We will see you next week, Thursday on Tell Me, and then, of course, on Saturday for On Target. Join us next week, Saturday, for the rally at Gingerland, the Save Nevis rally there at Market Shop, 7 o'clock. Thank you. God bless. See you next week.
One thing, we want we land. We want we say. Everybody